Hello, hello, everybody. Nice to see you all out for our watch party. I'd like to introduce our lovely group who is here from Away with Home, Miscellaneous Productions Away with Home. This is the original and wonderful cast. And I'll start with Zephania Hardian. If you could give us a big hello.
Hello.
Lucy Luau, and I've probably said that incorrectly.
Hi.
Lennox Johnston Yu. Hello, great, thanks. Arjun Panesar.
Good evening, everybody.
And Kevin Nguyen. Can you give us a big hello, Kevin?
Hello, everyone.
Great. We've had a bunch of questions throughout the screenings, and now I'm going to launch into this one. There's a question that came in. How long was the rehearsal process for your production? For Monsters, it was almost a full year from casting to performance. Who would like to answer this question? Who would like to begin? Arjun.
So the rehearsal process went on for a full year. We took breaks in between Christmas time and a little bit in between spring break. But for the most part, every weekend was dedicated to the rehearsal process of Away with Home.
Does anybody else want to answer that? Lennox?
Well, yeah, it was about a year. But the funny thing about that, I honestly thought it was going to feel like a year. It did not feel like a year. It felt way shorter than that. But, I guess that's what happens when you have a good time with stuff.
Thanks. Thanks both of you. Good, fantastic answers. We have a really good question that I think Bonnie and Jason from Izumi Taiko would appreciate. How do you keep track of what part is next during the taiko drumming? Who wants to answer that question? Fantastic question. Lucy, we'll start with you and then go to Lennox.
That was something that we definitely had to deal with a lot during the time. And for us, we recorded videos of us playing, and to keep ourselves fresh in the memory, we use that video to practice between each sessions. Otherwise, it was definitely very difficult to keep track of what part is next.
Thanks, Lucy. Great answer. Lennox?
Yeah, it was actually really hard. I remember it was really close to when we were supposed to perform, and we were like, we had it, but every so often we were like, oh man, what is it? And like, it really took a lot of dedication to try and get that right.
Does anyone else want to answer that question about the taiko drumming? Kevin?
Yeah, it was so much practicing, and even on top of that, during the taiko section, if we lost focus for even 1 second, we already screwed up. Like, we had so much practice, and in the performance, it really was that huge focus that we put into it, and got it right.
Thanks. Great answers, all of you. Anybody else want to answer that? Because we've got another great question that just came in. The question is, how long did it take to learn the dances in Away with Home? Lennox, do you want to give us an answer, please?
The whole year. It was, oh my God, especially, I'm not a dancer at all. Well, I guess technically now I am, but I was not a dancer in the slightest. So that in particular was pretty hard for me to do, but like, yeah, the whole year. But like, it was really fun though, honestly.
Lucy and then Arjun.
To add on to that, I want to say that at the beginning of the dance rehearsals, it was very much a exploration process. We worked on many foundational techniques, and then we went into different types of exploring like how the dance ties into the whole show. And finally, it became more of a rehearsal and let's get the right routine.
Excellent answer. Thank you. Arjun.
To add on to that, actually, I noticed that when we started, we did the exploration process of the dance, which went on for a few months. I think about the first 3 or 4 months of the program, and the last 5 to 6 months that we had of the process was basically creating and cleaning the whole choreography. So the choreography sections you see are actually made in less than a year, and they're put to the same type of expertise that a full year takes. So excellent job.
Thank you. Zephania, we haven't heard from you. Do you want to talk a little bit about the dance? Because you really shone in that part of the show.
Yeah, I basically have experience in dancing, but the dancing that Natasha Gori taught us is pretty hard. And then it took us like, a year, honestly, just to learn all the moves and stuff. But for the choreography, I think it was like 6 months, I believe. Because 6 months we had this, we trained basic first, and then we start learning choreography.
Thank you. Wonderful answers, all of you. Thank you very much. Here's a great question. How did you grow as artists through the process? And I'd like to hear from all of you on this because it's going to be a very individualized type of answer. Who would like to begin about talking about your growth as artists through the process? Arjun and then Kevin, please.
This is a really great question because my piece was so personal for myself. Having to be able to explore emotions that were, albeit unstable at the beginning of the program, and be able to fully fledge them was really the biggest part of my journey at Miscellaneous. I was able to develop as a person, develop as a human, and develop as an artist and understanding the emotions that I had and the emotions that I was putting towards. So, really, it was groundbreaking for myself.
Thanks, Arjun. Kevin?
Yeah. So at the beginning of Miscellaneous Productions, I actually I was very interested in the art industry, and throughout the whole process, it helped me develop technique, learn a lot more about myself, and it honestly has been a very instrumental part of why I'm continuing to pursue acting now.
Thanks, Kevin. Lennox.
Yeah, sorry. For me specifically, my piece, though not quite as literally as some other pieces, but it tackled some stuff that I was definitely not okay with in my head at the time. And then as time went on, I was like able to kind of work through it. And I kind of like through this program is how I realized that like art and performance and writing can really help you through like stuff you're trying to deal with, which, of course I had an idea before, but it's nice to live it through to really get the idea. So definitely that's a huge part of it for me.
Lucy, do you want to? Yes, please.
Hi. So I think first of all, Miscellaneous provided a really safe space and so much training, professional training with really great artists like Natasha Gori and like Amber. And I was just basically grew a lot in the most basics of techniques. And then Lane was a great director that I learned so much about acting and singing as well with so many great artists. But I think for me very personally, how I grew as an artist, the biggest thing was the confidence that I gained in myself. It was in the way that I used to like shy away from what an artist means, and like I wouldn't think I'm good enough to be an artist. But by the end of the process, I was committed. I knew I'm an artist, so that was my part.
Great. Zephania.
Yeah, before I started this program, I self-doubted myself a lot of time. before I joined this program, I always ask myself, am I really an artist? Like, am I gonna get through this program, honestly? And especially when writing, it's just, I was new to Canada, and writing isn't my biggest strength, I believe. And then I write something, and ironic enough, here I am studying script writing, and I really, really, really love it. And that's why after I got from this program, I know that I love writing.
Beautiful answers. Thank you, everybody. We've got another answer. What was your favorite part of the journey? What was your favorite part of the journey? Who would like to answer that? Ooh, I can see the ticking going on in the heads here in these brilliant minds. Kevin.
Favorite part, definitely the dancing. Oh my gosh. Before I even started here at Miscellaneous Productions, I had zero dance experience, and all the choreography, the great directors, the great resources, techniques that were taught to us. It was so much fun to work on my dance ability, and now I still enjoy dancing a lot. Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin. Lennox, what was your favorite part of the journey?
Well, this is going to sound really cheesy, but like, of course, there's all the technical things and the art things that we learned and that we were able to, you know, be a part of. But like, honestly, I did not think that I would get this close with you guys. Like not just the cast, like everyone on staff, like you guys are so cool. And I honestly didn't know that it was going to be something that was so like close to my heart by the end of it. You know, so that was definitely like I don't know if that's a good answer to the question or if that even answers the question, but that's definitely, I feel like that was my main takeaway.
Thank you. That's an excellent answer. Arjun or Zephania or Lucy? Arjun, favorite part?
I think my favorite part has to be from when we formed as individuals, kind of gaining our own talents, and then went from there to all working together in the dance. You can really see the different leadership aspects of all of us kind of kicking in and coming into use. Some things like, for example, my more dance experience with, Lucy's smarts, with Kevin's creativity, with Lennox's ability to be able to, come up with creative and funny schemes of how this may look. Zephania's hardworking, talented. All of us just really worked out together, and I think my favorite part was just the process in it all.
Lucy, thank you, Arjun. Lucy, you were gonna speak about this favorite part of the journey.
It's actually so hard because I agreed with all three of you that said each of those things. I dancing was something that I'm keeping in my life now, and I love it. And like I'm getting a little sentimental here because like I can't believe like it's been a year, and thinking back to all the memories that we made, either like at the food table or like during breaks, like during like rehearsals. That's just doesn't seem like it's ending, but it's ended, and it was a great memory. So yeah, I guess it's not a very good answer, but it's the whole part.
No, you guys are fantastic dancers now. Don't be so hard on yourselves. Thank you. Zephania.
Yeah, I have to agree with Lennox here because I really really like you guys. No, I'm just kidding. I like food here. No, I'm just kidding. No, I like everything. I like dancing, and I like the acting. I like the choreographer. I love the staff. I love everything, honestly. My favorite part is everything. It really a life changer for me, at least. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Here's another question for you. How did you like the costumes? The costumes were made by Megan Leeson and her crew. Arjun had his hand up first, and then Lennox had their hand up.
Big shout out to Megan Leeson, the best costumes and the comfiest, can I just say. Having worked on both Haunted House and Away with Home, I gotta say that the costumes have just been impeccable and on point, and Megan does a fantastic job.
Thanks. Lennox, do you want to talk about your costume?
Boy, do I. Oh my God. I remember there was a specific point where I was like, Elaine, I want to be a very, very cool young British boy. That's all I want. That is what I want from this. And I am very happy to say I definitely got there. Definitely got that. All thanks to those awesome costumes. Oh my God, I have so many of them. Like I bought them afterwards because I love them so much. It was like, oh my God. Especially since because for the most part, costumes that I've worked with before is like high school theater budget, like old, like moth-eaten whatever. So like this was definitely amazing. The costumes were insane. I loved them. I loved them so much.
Thanks. Lucy.
Yeah, just again, agreeing with the last two. But I want to say that the costumes, I really like them in the way that it helped me fully transform into my character. Because just a couple weeks before or as the costume were prepared, like once I got into them, I could feel like much more in the game and like ready to go.
Thank you. And Lucy's a perfect sample size. So a lot of the sort of beta testing for the costumes we did with Lucy. So that was a really great process as well. Kevin or Zephania, do you want to talk about the costumes? Kevin.
Yeah, that costume. There's something about me and costumes that I just love to have it on. Either I'm doing the show or not. It's the huge shout out to Megan because all of the costumes, they seem to fit this this aesthetic, and it was such a cool style to wear, and it really made me feel as if I was a part of something that was so much bigger, right? Because all of us, we had our own distinct costumes, but you know, we had so many photo shoots, and I just love the way we all look. We were rocking it, you know.
Thank you. Lovely answer. Thank you. Zephania, do you want to talk at all about your costume, that rockin' hat that you wore? No? Okay. We have another couple of great questions here that I'd like to get to. And maybe Zephania, if you want to begin with the answers, okay? How did you come up with the storyline? How did you come up with the storyline? So I'm not sure if this question talks about the whole piece or about your individual pieces, but if you want to talk about both, I mean, from my perspective as the dramaturge and the director, it was really just getting to know all of you. And then a lot of time just thinking about how can I put together a piece that really reflects you and your concerns. And it was developed slowly over time. And so much of it depended on getting to know you. So, but from your perspective as young co-creators and young performers, what was it like to come up with the storyline? Sure, if Lennox wants to begin, or Zephania. Or we can go to
Awesome.
Lennox and come back to Zephania. Okay, let's do that. Lennox.
Cool. So for the most part, my piece, which centers the story part of it, centers mostly around I leave the house and it's nighttime and I meet a cat, and that that actually happened. That's not me just trying to make it seem all metaphorical. Like that actually happened, and I think it was really helpful that did happen, so I could actually kind of tap into the feeling from that real life experience. And as for the process of it, I actually, if I remember correctly, I think I actually had something pretty close to what my finished piece was really early on. Probably because of that exact experience that kind of helped me tie together exactly what I was feeling and what I was thinking. So, yeah, that's the whole story for me.
Who else would like to answer this question? How did you come up with the storyline? Kevin.
Yeah, it began, in my opinion, fairly slowly because a lot of it, we had to lay a lot of groundwork. And Elaine, you played a big part in helping us with our scripts because we had a lot of discussions about stream of consciousness, a lot of allegories in the scripts, and a lot of it may not make sense to, not everyone in the audience would understand it, but certain lines, they had these meanings to me that I was saying it for me. It was how do I say this? I'm not. Basically, I was saying it for me, and I just strung together a bunch of random thoughts that I needed to get off my chest, and yeah, they were just truths for me that I believed in.
Thanks, Kevin. Lucy, would you like to give that question a go?
Yeah, very similarly to Kevin, my piece was also made up of a bunch of unconscious or stream of consciousness thoughts. And at the very beginning of the process, Elaine had some prompt questions regarding what our home and belonging or identity looked like. And at the time, I really struggled to answer those questions because as a first generation immigrant to Canada, I wasn't sure exactly where my home is. And that's what a lot of my piece ended up exploring. And for me, I like to write, and I like to write a lot, so I just kept writing. And so my initial draft was very lengthy, but eventually Elaine helped me cut down quite a bit of the piece and eventually forged it into what it is today.
Thanks, Lucy. I don't believe Arjun or Zephania's answered that question yet. How did you come up with the storyline? You can opt out if you don't want to answer it too. Arjun.
Yes. The storyline for my piece was kind of more like a call out for help for men's mental health. I kind of came to Miscellaneous with this idea that I wanted to have this piece for men and youth who have gone through the struggle of having their parents deal with mental health without themselves knowing what it is. And I feel that the piece that I put together really helped me understand myself a lot better.
Thanks. Arjun, don't touch your microphone when you're speaking because we're getting a lot of click, 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 click. Okay, thanks. Zephania, do you want to talk about the tornado piece?
Yeah, so it's a very allegorical piece because I wasn't quite ready, I think, to share back then. I wish I had talked about my immigration stuff because I have a lot of story about that right now. But yeah, I didn't know. So basically how it come up is I was really struggling to what I want to write, and then I'm really kind of almost have a breakdown in some sense. And then I thought, why don't we just write about that uneasy feeling? Yeah, that's what I write about then. Like the tornado is like something that is unpredictable. It's like your life, I guess. And then it kind of chases you and you don't know where to run, something like that. Yeah.
Excellent. And we use that tornado metaphor throughout the entire performance. And we really love that metaphor, and that came from you. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. We have another question here, and it's come up before. It's a good question. What is something you wish you knew before the program started? What is something you wish you knew before the program started? Oh boy. Okay, let's go Lennox and then Arjun. And then Zephania.
I've probably mentioned this before, but like honestly, I wish I knew that I didn't have to have all the answers right away. And it's mind-blowing now to think that I used to feel like so downtrodden over the fact that I didn't know, and I couldn't like figure it out, and I couldn't put it into words. But like, if anything, like the creative process and creating something out of that mash of nonsense in your head, like if anything, knowing now that you don't have to get there right away, you don't have to be done as soon as you start. That's definitely, I wish that I had known that before.
Thanks. Fantastic answer. Thank you. Who else would like to answer that question? Arjun.
If I can get philosophical with this, I wish that I knew the journey that I was going to embark on that I then finished after Miscellaneous, for I would have been far more grateful to know what I was going to be going through. That's
Wow.
it.
Thanks, Arjun. Zephania, I think you had your hand up, yes?
Honestly, it's gonna sound a bit silly, but I didn't know a lot of terms in English. Like, I didn't know anything, so I kind of feel back then I did feel a bit out of place in some sense. But you guys have been great, of course. But I just feel like a little bit out of place. I didn't know what feminism is, which is crazy, and I didn't know like people are actually is not that racist, and I didn't know that a lot of terms, honestly. Yeah, it's kind of silly, but it just that I was new, so.
Thank you. No, it's not silly. It's a great answer. Thank you. Kevin, Lucy?
I think for me that one thing I wish I knew was that joining Miscellaneous was one of the best decisions that I was going to make. And yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you. Kevin, you want to give us an answer there? Aw.
What I wish I knew is that I wish I already knew that well, this answer changes every day, but I wish that I already knew that this was what I wanted to do, because at the beginning of this, I lie to myself a lot, but honestly, at the beginning of this, I wasn't very committed because I was still scared of committing too much and failing in the end. But thankfully, Miscellaneous Productions, it worked in a positive way for me. It helped me develop myself and to feel proud of who I am as an artist.
Thank you. Beautiful answers, all of you. We have one last question, and then we're going to have to say thanks and good night to our lovely audience. And the question is, how did you find out about Miscellaneous Productions, and what made you want to join the company? Who would like to answer that? Wow. Okay. Let's go Arjun, Lucy, and then Lennox. How about that? And then Zephania, and then Kevin.
As a young actor in the city of Vancouver, I was very hungry for anything to get myself into the arts. Miscellaneous Productions was kind of my first real taste of that, and I got that when I turned 18. This was just online, so ever since then I've kind of had the word of mouth and built myself from there.
And I think Lucy was next, yes? Lucy?
Yeah. So I was friends with one of the cast members from Monsters, Claudia. I don't know her last name, but she told me about this huge opportunity to audition, and you know what really got me was that she was like, oh yeah, they get you free food every time you go, and then that was part of the reason, but also like singing lessons and dance lessons, and just a great opportunity to do arts, which I haven't had much experience with, but she was so encouraging, and like I came to the audition and I just wanted to stay.
Excellent, thank you. And I believe I can't remember who was next. So much for my moderation. Lennox. Sorry about that, folks.
All good. Okay, so essentially oh my god, I wasn't even old enough to be in the program at the time because my birthday came like 2 months in, so it was fine. But like, so I was like a stupid 13-year-old, and my dad was like, found a thing, you're gonna audition because you're gonna like it. And I'm like, I probably will. And then we just went, and then I'm no quitter, so of course I don't drop out. I'm having a good time, getting some good foods, hanging with some cool people. Of course I'm not gonna leave this like awesome program all of a sudden. But yeah, literally it was just hey, I found a thing and I think you should audition. And I was like, okay. Like the retroactive irony, like I had no idea what a big thing it would become.
Thank you. Thank you. Zephania?
Yeah, I found out when you guys did workshop at like newcomers thing, I think, yeah. And then
it was through the Vancouver School Board, and it was called the Enterprising Youth Program.
oh, EIYP, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. And then I used to join theater back home, and I was like, why don't I join theater right now? Because I can learn my English. And then so I did. And then I went to audition, and then I got food, and then I like it. Yeah.
Nice to hear our food is so great. Kevin, you're going to be the last answer, and then we're going to say goodnight to our lovely audience.
All right. So I went to a high school that one of the staff also went to. So I had already heard a bit about Miscellaneous Productions, and I was in my final year of high school, so the most stressful year. And when I heard about it and I saw the flyer, I was thinking to myself, you know, I don't want to think about all the stress of my final year of high school. I'm gonna go do what I know that I love. I'm gonna go do theater. Yeah, and that's how I found Miscellaneous Productions.
Thank you, everybody. I'd like to thank you one at a time, and if you could just say goodbye to the audience. Thank you, Zephania.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lennox.
Thank you so much. Shout out to Carmina. We love you.
Carmina, who helped us write one of the sections, a beautiful section of the performance. Thank you, Carmina Chang. Yes, hi to Carmina. And
absolutely.
Right on. And Arjun.
Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure.
And Lucy.
Thank you all for staying with us.
And Kevin, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you for all your questions.
Thanks, everybody. And if you have a question that didn't get onto this online watch party, you can just put it in the comments section of the Facebook, and we'll get to it in the next few days. Thank you very much for joining us. And thank you, lovely cast members. Thank you, everybody at the back end of this performance night, movie night. There were a lot of people working on the back end, and we really appreciate your outreach efforts. We really appreciate all of your technical skills. And thanks to our audience. Keep in touch. We have more events coming up. Keep in touch with us. Stay on our Facebook page. We have an Instagram account, and we have a Twitter. Thanks, everybody. Have a lovely evening and a fantastic weekend. Bye.